All right, guys, so for the Smith machine incline chest press, the first thing we want to make sure is that our bench and our setup is set up accordingly. Now, this Smith machine in particular is on an angle, so it's an angled Smith machine, and the angle is going upwards that way, right? So I actually want to face my bench this way. If this Smith machine was facing this way, I'd face the bench that way. So it's really important to understand, if you do have an angled Smith machine, which way to face the bench when you are doing a pressing motion. Or if it's straight, it doesn't really matter. But in this case, because we're angled that way, the bench is going to be facing this way. Explanation being, when I am going into my press, I want the line of force pressing towards my face rather than that way, right? So just an understanding of why we're setting up this way. Second thing, making sure that the bench is placed in the middle of the Smith machine. Now, a really easy way to do that is, first of all, just get your bench on an incline about 35 degrees. Anything more than that, I would say you're getting a little bit more shoulder than anything. And with no weight loaded on the Smith machine, I'm gonna unrack it and kind of drop it like right in the middle of the bench right here. Now, there's always some sort of landmarks on the barbell itself on the Smith machine, which will kind of give you an indication when you drop the barbell on the bench itself of how offset your bench is. Now, I've already placed my bench right in the middle there, so this is where I need it. I know it's dead center in the middle of the barbell, where I have just enough space on both sides towards the landmarks on the barbell itself. So I can pull this back up into position and I can start loading it and making sure that I'm doing it properly, which I'll go over next. All right, so I've set up the bench according to where I need it. I've also already gotten under the barbell and made sure it's right above my chest. So when I unrack it and bring the barbell down, it's gonna be somewhere in between my nipple line and mid chest. Anywhere there where, you know, it's going to be different for each person. So I want you guys to kind of experiment and find where the perfect spot is for you. I've already found the perfect spot for myself. So I'm going to go over the execution, the unrack, setup and execution of this particular exercise. This is going to be, again, individual where you decide to grip the barbell. But generally, the rule of thumb we're looking for is, as you bring the barbell down, that your elbow stays stacked over your wrist in a straight line. So we don't want to be way out here. So when I bring it down and make like kind of a W with my arms, I don't really want to do that. I'm putting a lot of stress on my shoulder joint and my elbow. It's not going to feel too good either. So I found that putting my ring finger on the ring works best for me. And the way I'm gonna set up is, as I get my head on the bench, feet flat on the floor, I'm going to try to suck my belly button into my spine or the bench, whichever cue works better for you. And then I'm going to almost puff my chest up a little bit, bringing my rib cage open, my sternum up. From here, I can scoot my shoulder blades together a little bit, push it up, unrack, and now when I bring it down, I want to take a big breath from my nose, and what you can see is my rib cage expand as I take a breath in. And I'm going to bring the weight down, nice and controlled, slight little pause, and then same tempo on the way up. And I'm also trying to press the weight from the inside of my hand, about right there. So I want a lot of pressure here in my hand rather than a little bit higher on my hand where my knuckle is. If you start doing that, your wrist will start bending a little bit too much and it might cause you some wrist pain. So just to go over it one more time, we're going to unrack, take a deep breath, puff up the chest, suck the belly button into the spine or into the bench. Then from there, lower the weight in a controlled fashion where your elbow stays stacked over your wrist. And from there, slight pause and press up. And you want to continue this tempo of reps throughout the entire set, taking as little rest or pauses as we possibly can.